Have you ever spent hours building something? Maybe a bookshelf, a desk, or even a terrible-looking piece of furniture that wobbles every time you touch it. You finish, step back, notice the crooked shelf and the extra screw you somehow never used, and still think, you know what? That's actually pretty good. Here's the strange part. If someone else built that exact same thing, you'd probably notice every flaw. But because you built it, you see it differently. That feeling isn't random. It's one of the most powerful psychological biases shaping your decisions every single day. It's called the IKEA Effect. In 2011, behavioral scientists conducted a fascinating experiment. One group of participants was simply shown an origami frog. Another group received the exact same paper along with instructions and folded the frog themselves. Then everyone was asked the same question: how much would you pay for it? The result was astonishing. People who folded the frog themselves valued it nearly 5 times more than people who only looked at it. Same paper, same design, completely different value. The only difference was ownership through effort. That's the IKEA effect. The more effort you invest in creating something, the more valuable it feels. Not because it's objectively better, but because you made it. So why does this happen? Your brain doesn't just calculate what something is worth. It also keeps track of what it cost you. Every minute you spend, every mistake you fix, every moment of frustration, every ounce of focus, your brain records all of it as an investment. And once you've invested, something remarkable happens. Your mind begins protecting that investment. Without realizing it, it inflates the value of what you created, so the effort feels justified. Think about this video. To you, it might just be another psychology video on the internet. But to me, it's different. I spent hours researching the studies, organizing the ideas, rewriting sentences, deleting entire sections that didn't work, and polishing every line. Because of that effort, I can never judge this video the same way you will. That's the IKEA effect quietly influencing me. Psychologists call part of this process effort justification, and it's deeply rooted in human behavior. In the 1950s, psychologist Elliot Aronson discovered something remarkable. People who had to go through a difficult initiation to join a group ended up valuing that group far more than people who joined with little effort. The group itself hadn't changed, only the price of getting in had. Your brain naturally connects effort with value. If something required sacrifice, it must be important. If it was difficult, it must be worthwhile. Not because that's logical, but because that's how humans evolved. Once you notice it, you'll see this pattern everywhere. A student who spends weeks writing a thesis becomes emotionally attached to every page. An entrepreneur who spends years building a company struggles to recognize obvious flaws. An artist falls in love with a painting that others barely notice. Parents develop incredibly deep bonds with children they sacrificed so much to raise. The effort doesn't just create the result, it changes how we see the result. From an evolutionary perspective, this actually made sense. For most of human history, people built nearly everything themselves: homes, tools, clothing, shelter, even food. The more effort you invested, the more important that object became to your survival. Your brain evolved to reward that effort with pride, attachment, and a powerful instinct to protect what you created. Today, almost everything arrives ready-made. We buy, we click, we receive. But our brains still run ancient software. So when you finally build something yourself, even if it's just assembling flat-pack furniture, that old reward system lights up. It doesn't matter that the company manufactured almost everything. You tightened the last bolt. Your brain says, "This is mine." But here's where the IKEA effect becomes dangerous. The same bias that makes you appreciate your work can also make you blind to its flaws. In the original experiment, people valued their homemade origami almost as highly as professionally crafted pieces, even when theirs was clearly worse. Effort doesn't just increase value. It weakens your ability to judge objectively. That's why entrepreneurs keep investing in failing products. Why people stay in relationships they've spent years trying to fix. Why organizations continue funding projects that should have ended long ago. Sometimes you're not protecting the project. You're protecting the version of yourself that invested so much in it. And that's an incredibly difficult illusion to escape. There's a reason IKEA doesn't fully assemble its furniture before shipping it.
Sure, it saves money, but it also creates something far more valuable than furniture. It creates ownership. The moment you tighten that final screw and step back to admire your work, that imperfect bookshelf becomes more than wood and metal. Part of your identity is now built into it. And that's exactly what your brain was designed to protect. So the next time you find yourself defending something simply because you worked hard for it, stop and ask yourself one question. Do I love this because it's truly valuable? Or because I invested so much that my brain refuses to let it go? The answer might change the way you see everything you've ever built.